Hi friends, my name is Haley Comet and welcome to my Cosmic Corner of the Internet, where we discuss all things astrology and, as of late, lunar self-care. Diving into your moon sign by both sign and eventually aspects when you get there is your key to understanding your emotional world and furthermore how to unlock this feeling of emotional fulfillment, safety, sustenance. So Aquarius moons, this is for you. Having an Aquarius moon is a little bit of an oxymoron because on one hand, you desperately want connection. You want to have friends or a group or a community around you. But on the other, you also have this pronounced need to stand out, to be different than the status quo. So balancing the two is very fascinating. So it is important for you to find your people or your group or your community or an activity that unites you with others. And that can be something a little bit quirky or off the wall. Maybe you have like a rollerblading crew that you spend time with on Saturdays, or you have individuals that you game with. Whatever it is, people who can honor your nuances and your eccentricities as much as you can honor theirs. And if you are watching this as an Aquarius moon, you're like, well, I haven't found those people yet. Fear not. You have a need and your soul chose this desire to want to stand out, to be a little different than other people. So I would never advise a Aquarius moon to sacrifice their own kind of sense of individuality in order to fit in. Even though that is a need in your chart to have some sort of group or some sort of community or some sort of friendship, it only happens when you're able to let your own freak flag fly and honor your soul as maybe a lone wolf at times who, marches to the beat of your own drum. But the more that you tap in and really celebrate the authenticity that your soul carries, the more you will magnetize your tribe, your people who understand you your way. So fear not if it hasn't happened yet, but be open to opportunities where you can connect with people, whether it's following your interest, in video games or in whatever kind of interest that you carry with you. And then on the other, so there's this need to fit in or have some sort of community, but there's also this need to stand out. Aquarius moon kind of has this feeling inside, I'm too different for this world. Aquarius is a sign of the future, so it could be feeling like I am like way ahead of these people. These people are, so lame, or I'm just so much more different, or whatever have you. And while it is important for your soul to kind of tap into that, individuality that you carry in your kind of light years ahead of everyone else mind and preferences, you can also meet people where they're at. So Aquarius is a sign of friendship. There's a lot for you to learn about other people. And I've noticed the kind of shadow side of this is just writing off people as like, well, they're lame and I'm different, and just being like happy to kind of isolate yourself. You have an air moon. So this bouncing off of ideas and collaboration is really soothing for your soul. So I don't want you to like go down this path of, just writing off every single person because, they're so lame and they're so status quo or whatever have you, because your air moon, air governs communication. It's intrinsically important for your emotional fulfillment to be able to communicate your feelings honestly. So in learning to work with people who might be vastly different than you and you might want to write off as lame, you can learn a lot about your own self because you have a Saturn-ruled moon if we use traditional placements as opposed to modern. If we go by modern placements, you would have Uranus as a ruler. So if that's something you carry, you're welcome to take a look at Uranus. I go by traditional. So with Saturn ruling your moon, there is kind of a restriction to your emotional expression. So it might be that you are just so used to detaching yourself from your emotions that they can kind of like take you by surprise. Or if something really emotionally devastating happens to you, you just completely check out. It's like you just detach yourself from it, and it's just so much more easy at those moments to feel emotionless than to dive into, the heavy lifting of feeling that emotion. So often your friends around you, you just went through a breakup or something like that, and you're the one who's like, you know, still laughing, still like going on with life, and they're like, what is this person emotionless? You're not. You care very deeply about things. There's just a tendency with this Saturn ruled moon that just right away when something happens, it's just easier to check out and go emotionless. So it also makes sure to check in with yourself on escapism tactics or ways that you try to divert feeling those things, whether that's, you know, going out and partying with your friends or turning to a substance or something else, because when you suppress it, when you push it down and kind of avoid it, it's not really going anywhere. It's still there, and it can kind of bubble up and build up into a sense of resentment. So why I say it's really important to have your tribe is that you can find eventually, when you're okay with going there, that talking things out with feeling connected to other individuals, that is what'll truly kind of get you out of that emotionless, numb space that you so often go to when something emotionally devastating happens. And yes, you're a very strong individual, but I just don't want you to allow that stuff to build up and build up and build up. So with Aquarius ruling humanity, humanitarian issues, things really affect you in ways that they don't affect other people. So you're kind of the individual, whereas you are pretty, you know, strong, and you go to that kind of emotionless space with your own turmoil. When it comes to societal struggles or the plight of animals or anything like that, you really take it deeply because you're kind of tapped into the collective consciousness. So when you read an article, when you see a video of those cats, it really hits you hard. And I would recommend having some barriers of distance between yourself and constantly inundating yourself with that sort of stimuli, whether it's, you know, following accounts on Instagram that just report on, you know, the doom and gloom, or constantly, you know, refreshing your Twitter for the news updates. You are tapped in, and your heart kind of goes out for them. And when you're in that state of kind of fear and trouble, constantly taking in all that stimuli, there's really not so much good that you can do. So I really recommend monitor the amount of, you know, news that you take in and social media that you take in around, you know, societal struggles, and B, allow that deep embedded need within you to help your fellow humans to launch you forward into, you know, volunteering, taking that negative emotion and transmuting it into a positive action. The cat video made me sad, so now I'm going to volunteer at my local animal shelter. Reading the news this morning made me super depressed, so now I'm going to, you know, donate some money to this cause. Kind of taking that kind of deep feeling that you have for humans and the causes and the plights that they undergo and turning it into something more positive, because that is one of your purposes of being here, Aquarius Moon, is to help humanity and to shift them. Remember, you are of the future, shift them into the future or where we're going now, or to kind of innovate in a certain way. So giving yourself permission to do that. And it might be actually interesting for your friends and family, because as I mentioned, there is this tendency that you can go emotionless. You can rely totally on ration and totally on logic and totally shut down emotion. So you might, you know, your friends and closest family might not know how much they mean to you, because you just kind of operate in this, not numb necessarily, but just, it's not a place you go to, you know, the mushy-gushy very often, unless you have like a lot of other, you know, maybe Pisces or Cancerian energy in your chart. But so make sure and make conscious efforts to let people know how much you love and appreciate them. I know, like with my Aquarius Moon friend, you know, she'd be crying about animal videos all the time, and I never saw her cry about anything that she was going through, or like in expressing her love for me or anything like that. It's like, people around you might feel like you care about humanity or like all these other humans more than you care about your loved ones who are like immediately here. You're really tapped into kind of humanitarian issues that you might neglect the humans that are right in front of you. So making conscious efforts, I mean, you don't have to cry and write love letters, but making conscious efforts to reach out to people, say, hey, I appreciate you, I love you, because as an Aquarius, it's really important to have, you know, friendship, even like your lovers, you know, to have a friend, that, because it's so essential for your emotional well-being to be able to talk things out, to feel not alone as well. So Our moon sign also describes not necessarily how our mother was, but how we experienced her. So with an Aquarius moon, there could have been this feeling of your mom being like, I'm not a regular mom, I'm a cool mom. Because a lot of times the Aquarius moon, this is one manifestation, but the mom tries to be kind of a friend. And there could be kind of a lack of really stepping up and really being the guardian, really being the parent, and this tendency to be, perhaps they were like kind of new age, a little more hippie, and kind of wanted you to call them by their first name. And as a result, there could be kind of a blending between, you know, parent and child, where it's like you feel like you have more of a friendship than anything. And there could be a little bit of resentment, if this does apply, of like, why did you not step up and be, you know, the person, the parent. So that's one manifestation. The other manifestation is you could have felt a little bit alone to your own devices, and this is why you developed such like kind of a fun, quirky personality, is because you had to kind of constantly transmute and make things fun, and you had this deep embedded need for connection, which your Aquarius moon takes into adulthood and deeply wants, but then again feels like they are too different to truly find it, or too unique to truly find it. So there could have been messages in childhood, you know, trying to connect with other kids around you, that you were different somehow, or you were not the same. So you could have kind of squelched your innermost self in childhood in order to fit in. In adulthood, it's really important to reclaim those weird, those quirky parts of yourself, because the more you tune into that authenticity, the more good you can do for humanitarian issues, and the more you will attract that tribe, that community that will truly uplift you. When it comes to love, I did lightly touch on to make sure you express and vocalize your appreciation for people, because oftentimes it's like you just don't go to the mushy-gushy thing right away. You also could kind of want a friend and a lover wrapped up into one. You know, like it could be really important for you in relationships to move into things from a stance of, you are my friend, and then maybe something can build. And give yourself permission to move into connection very slowly. With a Saturn-ruled moon, there could be a feeling of like, I don't want to let my guard down. I don't want people to see their inner me and like how weird and strange I am. And so give yourself permission to move at that slower pace, but also know that at your core, no matter how different and unique that you feel, you really want to feel connected. Thank you so much for tuning in, Aquarius Moon. I hope you enjoyed it. Next week will be Pisces Moon. Until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.